Welcome to the Bible Quiz and Trivia channel. Today, we're diving into the incredible life story of Joseph, from his dreams to his reign in Egypt. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and like this video to support our content. After the quiz, share your score in the comments. We love seeing how well you do. Are you ready? Let's get started. Question 1. What was Joseph's relation to Jacob? A. Nephew. B. Son. C. Brother. D. Cousin. Answer: B. Son. Joseph was one of the 12 sons of Jacob, making him a central figure in the family stories of Genesis. Question 2. How many brothers did Joseph have? 10. B. 11. C. 12. D. 13. Answer: C. 12. Joseph had 11 brothers, but counting Benjamin, who was born after Joseph was sold into slavery, makes it 12 sons of Jacob in total. Question 3. What special gift did Jacob give Joseph that caused envy among his brothers? A. A golden bracelet. B. A multicolored coat. C. A silver cup. D. A pair of sandals. Answer: B. A multicolored coat. Jacob gave Joseph a coat of many colors, which symbolized his favoritism towards him and sparked jealousy and hatred among his brothers. Genesis 37:3. Question 4. What were the two dreams Joseph had that angered his brothers? A. Sun and moon bowing to him. B. Sheaves of wheat bowing to this sheaf. C. Both A and B. D. A crown placed on his head. Answer: C. Both A and B. Joseph dreamt that his brothers' sheaves of wheat bowed to his sheaf. And in another dream, the sun, moon, and 11 stars, his family members, bowed to him, indicating his future rise to power and their subservience. Genesis 37:5-11. Question 5. Who persuaded the others to not kill Joseph but instead sell him? A. Reuben. B. Judah. C. Levi. D. Simeon. Answer: A. Reuben. Reuben intervened to save Joseph's life by suggesting they throw him into a pit instead of killing him directly, planning to rescue him later. Genesis 37:21-22. Question 6. To which traders did Joseph's brothers sell him? A. Egyptian traders. B. Midianite traders. C. Ishmaelite traders. D. Canaanite traders. Answer: C. Ishmaelite traders. Joseph's brothers sold him to Ishmaelite traders who were passing by, who later took Joseph to Egypt. Genesis 37:28. Question 7. What was the name of the Egyptian official who bought Joseph? A. Potiphar. B. Pharaoh. C. Anan. D. Osiris. Answer: A. Potiphar. Joseph was sold to Potiphar, the captain of Pharaoh's guard in Egypt. Genesis 39:1. Question 8. What position did Joseph ultimately achieve in Potiphar's house? A. Gardener. B. Chief servant. C. Cook. D. Gatekeeper. Answer: B. Chief servant. Joseph rose to become the chief servant or overseer in Potiphar's house due to God's favor and his capable management. Genesis 39:4. Question 9. Why was Joseph thrown into prison? A. Stealing. B. Killing a guard. C. Falsely accused of assaulting Potiphar's wife. D. Attempting to escape. Answer: C. Falsely accused of assaulting Potiphar's wife. Joseph was falsely accused by Potiphar's wife of trying to assault her, leading to his imprisonment. Genesis 39:19-20. Question 10. What ability did Joseph use to gain favor while in prison? A. Strength. B. Carpentry. C. Dream interpretation. D. Singing. Answer: C. Dream interpretation. Joseph used his God-given ability to interpret dreams, which gained him favor in prison and eventually led to his release and rise to power. Genesis 40:12-23. Question 11. Which two of Pharaoh's servants did Joseph interpret dreams for in prison? A. Chef and guard. B. Baker and cupbearer. C. Messenger and charioteer. D. Scribe and butler. Answer: B. Baker and cupbearer. Joseph interpreted the dreams of Pharaoh's baker and cupbearer while in prison, accurately predicting their futures. Genesis 40:122. Question 12. What happened to the baker in Joseph's interpretation? A. He was promoted. B. He was freed. C. He was executed. D. He escaped. Answer: C. He was executed. Joseph's interpretation of the baker's dream predicted that he would be hanged, which came to pass 3 days later. Genesis 40:22. Question 13. What were the two dreams that Pharaoh had? A. A river turning to blood and locusts filling his palace. B. 7 thin cows eating 7 fat cows, and 7 thin ears of grain swallowing 7 healthy ears. C. A great storm destroying Egypt and a famine covering the land. D. An angel descending from heaven and a tree growing in his court. Answer: B. 7 thin cows eating 7 fat cows and 7 thin ears of grain swallowing 7 healthy ears. Pharaoh dreamt of 7 skinny cows eating 7 fat cows and 7 thin ears of grain swallowing 7 full and healthy ears, symbolizing the coming famine. Genesis 41:17. Question 14. What was Joseph's interpretation of Pharaoh's dreams? A. 20 years of war followed by peace. B. 7 years of famine followed by 7 years of plenty. C. 7 years of plenty followed by 7 years of famine. D. A new dynasty rising in Egypt. Answer: C. 7 years of plenty followed by 7 years of famine. Joseph interpreted Pharaoh's dreams to mean 7 years of abundant harvest would be followed by 7 years of severe famine, advising preparation during the years of plenty. Genesis 41:29-30. Question 15. What role was Joseph given after interpreting Pharaoh's dreams? A. Advisor. B. General. C. Governor. D. Priest. Answer: C. Governor. After interpreting the dreams, Pharaoh appointed Joseph as governor over Egypt, giving him authority to oversee the land and prepare for the upcoming famine. Genesis 41:41-43. Question 16. What were the names of Joseph's two sons? A. Aaron and Moses. B. Manasseh and Ephraim. C. Cain and Abel. D. James and John. Answer: B. Manasseh and Ephraim. Joseph named his first son Manasseh, meaning God has made me forget all my trouble and all my father's household, and his second son Ephraim, meaning God has made me fruitful in the land of my suffering. Genesis 41:51-52. Question 17. What was the meaning behind the name of Joseph's firstborn Manasseh? A. God has heard me. B. God has made me forget. C. God has blessed me. D. God is with us. Answer B. God has made me forget. The name Manasseh reflects Joseph's feeling of recovery and moving past his hardships as he felt that God made him forget his toil and his father's house. Genesis 41:51. Question 18. During the famine, why did Joseph's brothers go to Egypt? A. To find Joseph. B. To buy grain. C. To settle permanently. D. To visit relatives. Answer B. To buy grain. Joseph's brothers went to Egypt to buy grain because there was a famine in their land, and Egypt had surpluses due to Joseph's foresight and management. Genesis 42:1-3. Question 19. How did Joseph react when he first saw his brothers in Egypt? A. He warmly greeted them. B. He pretended not to recognize them. C. He immediately revealed his identity. D. He had them arrested. Answer B. He pretended not to recognize them. Joseph recognized his brothers but pretended to be a stranger and spoke harshly to them, testing their integrity and feelings about their past actions. Genesis 42:7. Question 20. What test did Joseph give his brothers to prove their honesty? A. He asked them to bring Benjamin to Egypt. B. He asked them to pay double for their grain. C. He asked them to leave one brother in Egypt. D. He asked for proof of their lineage. Answer A. He asked them to bring Benjamin to Egypt. Joseph's test was to see if his brothers would bring his younger brother Benjamin to Egypt as a proof of their honesty and to see if their attitudes had changed. Genesis 42:15-20. Question 21. What was placed in Benjamin's sack by Joseph? A. Grain. B. Gold. C. A silver cup. D. A map. Answer C. A silver cup. Joseph instructed his servant to place his silver cup in Benjamin's sack to frame him and test his brother's reactions and loyalty towards Benjamin. Genesis 44:1-2. Question 22. What was Judah's offer to Joseph when Benjamin was accused of theft? A. To pay for the cup. B. To serve as Joseph's slave. C. To leave Egypt immediately. D. To fight for Benjamin's freedom. Answer B. To serve as Joseph's slave. Judah offered to stay and become a slave instead of Benjamin, showing a willingness to sacrifice himself for his brother's freedom. Genesis 44:33. Question 23. How did Joseph eventually reveal his identity to his brothers? A. Through a letter. B. In a public announcement. C. In private, after sending everyone else out. D. Through his father Jacob. Answer C. In private, after sending everyone else out. Joseph revealed his identity to his brothers privately after making sure no Egyptians were present, where he emotionally declared himself and inquired about his father. Genesis 45:1. Question 24. What was Jacob's reaction when he learned that Joseph was still alive? A. He did not believe it. B. He fainted. C. He was overjoyed. D. He was angry. Answer C. He was overjoyed. Jacob was initially stunned, but when he saw the carts Joseph sent to carry him to Egypt, his spirit revived, and he was filled with joy. Genesis 45:26-28. Question 25. Where did Joseph request to be buried? A. In Egypt. B. In Canaan. C. In Babylon. D. In the wilderness. Answer B. In Canaan. Joseph made the Israelites swear to carry his bones from Egypt and bury them in Canaan, which was fulfilled during the Exodus, Genesis 50:24-25, Exodus 13:19. Question 26. How old was Joseph when he was sold into slavery? A. 17 years old. B. 30 years old. C. 21 years old. D. 25 years old. Answer A. 17 years old. Joseph was 17 years old when he was sold into slavery by his brothers, marking the beginning of his trials and eventual rise to power in Egypt, Genesis 37:2. Question 27. What did Joseph do when he finally reunited with his father? A. He held a feast. B. He embraced him and wept. C. He presented him gifts. D. He sang a song. Answer B. He embraced him and wept. When Joseph finally reunited with his father Jacob in Egypt, he embraced him and wept for a long time, an emotional moment reflecting the depth of his relief and joy. Genesis 46:29. Question 28. How did Pharaoh react to meeting Joseph's family? A. He was displeased. B. He welcomed them warmly. C. He ignored them. D. He was suspicious. Answer B. He welcomed them warmly. Pharaoh welcomed Joseph's family warmly, offering them the best of the land of Egypt and commanding Joseph to ensure their comfort and provision. Genesis 47:5-6. Question 29. What was the final promise Joseph asked of his brothers? A. To take care of his children. B. To bury him in Canaan. C. To return to their homeland. D. To never return to Egypt. Answer B. To bury him in Canaan. Joseph made his brothers promise to carry his bones out of Egypt and bury them in Canaan, fulfilling his desire to be laid to rest with his ancestors. Genesis 50:25. Question 30. What crime did Joseph's brothers fear he would retaliate for after Jacob's death? A. Selling him into slavery. B. Lying to their father. C. Stealing his belongings. D. Ignoring his requests. Answer A. Selling him into slavery. After Jacob's death, Joseph's brothers feared he would retaliate for their earlier crime of selling him into slavery, reflecting their guilt and fear of retribution. Genesis 50:15. Question 31. What did Joseph say to reassure his brothers after their father's death? A. You are no longer my brothers. B. You meant evil against me, but God meant it for good. C. I will make you pay for your betrayal. D. Leave Egypt and never return. Answer B. You meant evil against me, but God meant it for good. Joseph reassured his brothers, emphasizing that their actions, though meant for harm, were part of God's plan to save lives and establish a legacy. Genesis 50:20. Question 32. How did Joseph ensure his family's prosperity in Egypt? A. By giving them land in Goshen. B. By training them as soldiers. C. By appointing them as priests. D. By sending them back to Canaan. Answer A. By giving them land in Goshen. Joseph ensured his family's prosperity by settling them in the region of Goshen, a fertile part of Egypt ideal for their livestock and farming needs. Genesis 47:11. Question 33. How many years did Joseph live in Egypt? A. 93 years. B. 110 years. C. 120 years. D. 130 years. Answer B. 110 years. Joseph lived to be 110 years old, spending the majority of his life in Egypt after being sold into slavery at age 17. Genesis 50:22. Question 34. What natural disaster set the stage for Joseph's rise to power? A. A great flood. B. A severe famine. C. An earthquake. D. A locust plague. Answer B. A severe famine. Joseph rose to power primarily because of his divinely inspired interpretation of Pharaoh's dreams, which predicted 7 years of famine that he prepared for during 7 years of plenty. Genesis 41:30. Question 35. Who accused Joseph of a crime leading to his imprisonment? A. Potiphar's wife. B. The baker. C. The cupbearer. D. Pharaoh. Answer A. Potiphar's wife. Potiphar's wife falsely accused Joseph of making advances towards her, which led to his imprisonment despite his innocence. Genesis 39:17-20. Question 36. How did Joseph describe his kidnapping to Pharaoh? A. As a blessing in disguise. B. As an act of God. C. As an unjust act by his brothers. D. He never mentioned it. Answer C. As an unjust act by his brothers. Joseph described his being sold into Egypt by his brothers as an unjust act, yet he acknowledged God's purpose behind it. Genesis 45:4-5. Question 37. What strategy did Joseph implement to manage the famine? A. He opened free food stores. B. He rationed grain sales. C. He collected and stored surplus grain during the years of plenty. D. He imported grain from other countries. Answer C. He collected and stored surplus grain during the years of plenty. Joseph's strategy involved collecting grain in the years of plenty and storing it for use during the subsequent years of famine, ensuring Egypt's survival. Genesis 41:49. Question 38. How did Joseph prove his brothers changed characters? A. By forgiving them unconditionally. B. By testing them with the silver cup. C. By asking them about their family. D. By sending them back to Canaan without food. Answer B. By testing them with the silver cup. Joseph tested his brothers by placing a silver cup in Benjamin's sack to see their reaction and whether they would abandon Benjamin as they had him. Genesis 44-134. Question 39. What was the significance of Joseph's silver cup? A. It was just a valuable item. B. It was used for divination. C. It represented his authority. D. All of the above. Answer D. All of the above. The silver cup was valuable, used for divination, and a symbol of Joseph's authority, making its placement in Benjamin's sack a significant test. Genesis 44-5. Question 40. How did Joseph contribute to the Egyptian economy during the famine? A. By lowering taxes. B. By selling grain at high prices. C. By implementing a barter system. D. By buying all the land for Pharaoh. Answer D. By buying all the land for Pharaoh. Joseph's management of the famine included selling grain for money, livestock, and eventually land, which led to Pharaoh owning all the land in Egypt, thereby restructuring the Egyptian economy. Genesis 47:20-21. Question 41. In what way did Joseph act as a mediator between Pharaoh and his people during the famine? A. By negotiating labor contracts. B. By interpreting dreams. C. By redistributing land. D. By pleading for mercy. Answer. C. By redistributing land. Joseph acted as a mediator by redistributing land to the people in exchange for grain, effectively managing the economic crisis and securing the loyalty of the Egyptian people to Pharaoh. Genesis 47:20-21. Question 42. How did Joseph's leadership affect the Egyptian people's view of him? A. They resented him. B. They revered him. C. They were indifferent. D. They plotted against him. Answer B. They revered him. Due to Joseph's effective management of the famine and his fair policies, the Egyptian people revered him as a wise and compassionate leader who saved them from starvation. Genesis 41:57. Question 43. What was Joseph's policy for the land during the famine? A. Seizure of all private lands. B. Implementation of heavy taxes. C. Redistribution for grain. D. Free allocation to everyone. Answer. C. Redistribution for grain. Joseph's policy involved redistributing the land in exchange for grain, which helped to stabilize the economy and maintain social order during the severe famine. Genesis 47:23-24. Question 44. How did Joseph's actions fulfill God's promise to Abraham? A. By increasing his wealth. B. By making his descendants numerous. C. By blessing all nations through him. D. By conquering Canaan. Answer. C. By blessing all nations through him. Joseph's actions during the famine not only saved Egypt but also the surrounding nations, fulfilling God's promise to Abraham that through his descendants, all nations of the earth would be blessed. Genesis 12:3, Genesis 41:57. Question 45. How is Joseph's faith in God evident throughout his trials? A. He frequently prayed. B. He never complained. C. He attributed his success to God. D. He converted Egyptians to worship God. Answer. C. He attributed his success to God. Joseph consistently attributed his success and abilities to God, showing his faith by recognizing God's hand in all aspects of his life, even in adversity. Genesis 41:16, 45-58. Question 46. What parallel is drawn between Joseph and Jesus in Christian theology? A. Both were carpenters. B. Both were betrayed for silver. C. Both saved their people. D. Both were kings. Answer. C. Both saved their people. Christian theology often draws parallels between Joseph and Jesus, noting that both figures played crucial roles in saving their people. Joseph through physical sustenance and Jesus through spiritual salvation. Matthew 1:21. Question 47. What lessons on forgiveness can be learned from Joseph's story? A. Forgiveness is unnecessary. B. Forgiveness depends on repentance. C. Forgiveness can lead to reconciliation. D. Forgiveness is only divine. Answer. C. Forgiveness can lead to reconciliation. Joseph's story teaches that forgiveness, even without expecting anything in return, can lead to reconciliation and healing, as seen when he forgave his brothers and restored his family. Genesis 45-415. Question 48. In what ways did Joseph's dreams come true? A. His family bowed to him. B. He became a priest. C. He returned to Canaan. D. His brothers served him as king. Answer. A. His family bowed to him. Joseph's dreams of his family bowing to him came true when his brothers came to Egypt and bowed before him, not knowing his identity initially, fulfilling the dreams he had as a youth. Genesis 42-6, Genesis 37-5:10. Question 49. What role did prophecy play in Joseph's life? A. It guided his actions. B. It caused his hardships. C. It was fulfilled in his descendants. D. It was irrelevant. Answer A. It guided his actions. Prophecy, in the form of dreams, played a crucial role in Joseph's life, guiding his actions from his early dreams, predicting his rise to prominence, to the interpretation of Pharaoh's dreams that led to his high position. Genesis 37-5:11, Genesis 41-25-32. Question 50. How did Joseph's life demonstrate the theme of divine providence? A. By his random successes. B. By his strategic planning. C. By the fulfillment of God's plan despite human actions. D. By his continuous victories. Answer C. By the fulfillment of God's plan despite human actions. Joseph's life is a prime example of divine providence, as it demonstrates how God's plans are fulfilled through human actions, even when those actions are intended for harm. Genesis 50:20.